the flag of independence flies above the streets of Binish. The city's residents have struggled free of Damascus's influence. Now, more than 1,000 members of an insurgent army protect the people and their hard-won freedoms. At the gates of the town, battles are fought against the regime every day. But inside, soldiers of the uprising are in charge. To get to Binish, our team had to smuggle themselves into Syria, crossing mountains and military checkpoints before finally reaching this defiant community. Kamel spent all night out on the roof. He's a new recruit to the Free Syrian Army, or FSA.
Saman,
Do you hear that?
Just 22, he acts as the town sheriff. He had been a regime soldier, but ended up here when he deserted, refusing to follow orders to fire upon protest crowds. We stick with him as he heads out on patrol.
The Free Syrian Army defends the city and its surroundings. Our main task is to protect the people who demonstrate every day to bring down the murderous regime of Bashar al-Assad.
He takes a moment to show us traces of the last street battles. Syrian soldiers targeted civilians. Since then, an odd calm masks a permanently tense atmosphere. Around 20 people were killed in clashes between the FSA and the regime's forces. This grandmother invites us in to show us the damage caused to her home.
We were hidden inside when shells started raining down on us, from about 8 in the evening until 3 in the morning. Then the soldiers came into the house looking for guns. But we don't even have a kitchen knife.
The patrol continues and we head into the city centre. Kamel shows us the neighbourhood around the Grand Mosque. It's also been hit hard by security forces.
Look, bullet holes. They shoot everything that moves. If you put your head out the window, snipers will kill you.
Insurgents have managed to keep tight control of the city since last July. We operated under their protection, but also under their control, without any direct access to the population. Things are tough. The area of Jebel el-Zawiya is almost totally out of supplies. Only a few truckloads of flour make it through. In Binish, the cost of freedom is high. It's constantly besieged, always in the sight of a network of regime tanks. But the internet eases the isolation. Now a cyber activist, Badr used to be a teacher. To post videos of demonstrations online, he's got to outwit the authorities.
This equipment is our only link to the outside world. It's what allows us to have our voices heard. It has the same value as a human life because it transmits to the outside what's happening in here. Yes, it's a real weapon. Bashar al-Assad led a campaign against us, claiming that we were terrorists armed with modern weapons and acting against the regime.
As night approaches, Badr prepares for protests. The rallies have become a daily ritual, a way for the resistance to mark out its territory and stake its fragile claim to independence. We will resist until the fall of the regime is the latest slogan. Recording from above, Badr rebroadcasts the demonstration online.
We want freedom, democracy, the end of the regime, and the execution of the president.
We all have a problem with Bashar al-Assad because he's been unjust to his people since the beginning of his rule. He's a despot who squandered the country's resources. We asked him for freedom, and he responded with machine guns.
The rebels are everywhere. They organize and oversee all of the demonstrations. They're also always ready to fight. A deserted farmhouse to the north of Binish serves as one of the FSA's advanced positions.
If the tanks come, we'll see them over there.
The Syrian army is positioned in front less than 3 kilometers away.
Those who are here are enough, but it would be better to have reinforcements. We call on all our brothers in the Syrian army to leave Assad and a regime which hasn't spared women or children.
Inside, fighters clean their guns. A handful of men from this Katiba, or revolutionary brigade, sit and drink tea, waiting to go to war. They have their own code of combat.
We, the Free Army, are ready to protect the region honorably and humanely. We won't attack any soldier just because he is Syrian. Meanwhile, the system hunts down deserters, imprisons their families, and destroys their homes.
For now, the FSA is made up of disparate groups of men hoping to see a no-fly zone brought in. The next day, Badr takes us to hospital. It's struggling to cope. Insurgents control the city but haven't been able to secure the hospital. We're forced to go round the back in order not to be discovered.
Where's the surgery's hidden door?
Badr is tense.
We are forced to hide ourselves and come in through the back door. If we come in through the main door, we risk arousing suspicion. There are spies everywhere.
The doctor's taking a huge risk by meeting with us and doesn't want to show his face. He treats the injured in secret. This man was at home when he was hit in his pelvis by shrapnel.
In 90% of cases, the injuries have nothing to do with the resistance, the demonstrations, or the revolutionaries. Most of the time, there are people who are hit by shells at home or in their car or in their shops. It doesn't stop me fulfilling my responsibilities. I'm a doctor. I look after the injured, whatever the consequences.
The hospital's regularly targeted by snipers. Even the windows in the recovery room have been blown out. So even the wounded often stay away. Ahmed died because his family couldn't get him to hospital. It was just too dangerous.
They brought him home, but we couldn't help him. He's dead. I wanted to go out even during the shelling to rescue him, but they told me that was impossible. There wasn't even any cotton wool or syringes. If the regime finds even the smallest syringe at our house, they'll accuse us of helping terrorists.
Ahmed left behind 2 children, and his parents are devastated.
I'll visit my son's tomb every day, and I'll pray for his soul at the cemetery.
It's a problem faced by a poor but determined resistance. In Binish, as elsewhere, they can't do much to stop the dying and the killing. The Free Syrian Army lacks men, resources, ammunition, everything really. Back at the revolutionaries' headquarters, there's a meeting tonight. It's at the home of a rich businessman who's put money toward the rebellion, and the FSA reports back to him. Our presence is barely tolerated. The captain's pleased to announce a few spoils of war, 5 regime militiamen who've just been arrested.
There are people in the region and others who come from elsewhere. They are members of a political party that's supported by Lebanon. This party's linked to Hezbollah. 90% of those we arrest eventually join the cause of the Free Army.
Later, the captain said that the remaining 10% are summarily tried and executed. Freedom fighters in the FSA say that they have around 20,000 men. It's a number that's impossible to verify.
We negotiate directly with the army, man to man. Otherwise, we speak on the phone. We even have moles in their homes. It's no surprise because they are brothers that we know well. We are in constant contact.
The stronghold of Benish isn't a priority in Bashar al-Assad's fight back against the uprising. But that could change at any moment.
Gaza.